Welcome to episode 52 of If You See Kayfabe, and it's a really special one. As you can see, we're in the split screen again, which means, yep, we've got a guest, and yep, if you're a long time viewer, you've seen him before. But this is something that's an If You See Kayfabe first. This is a farewell party, a bittersweet one, as Matty goes on to be LJ the Magician. So let's celebrate the career of Matty Wild. Matty, how you doing?
Good, Joe. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. Got to congratulate you. I saw that 2 years in a row you won the Melbourne Magic Festival Magician's Choice Award.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's a absolute honour to be recognised by my peers in the Magic Festival, and all the contributions I made towards it for the second year in a row. It was an absolute pleasure to help the festival grow, and we really did grow the festival immensely from last year, and I managed to do the most I've ever done in terms of a professional standpoint as well. I did altogether, I think I counted it out, and it was something like 17 or 18 shows over the course
Wow.
of 2 weeks, which was incredible, and lots of very happy audiences, and very, very proud to represent Melbourne Magic Festival and the magic community here in Melbourne again for a second year.
Well, the funny thing was, just before we go into the Matty Wild stuff, I was on my way to work on a Saturday morning, and the guy who was the organizer of the festival
Yep,
gave you a
Tim.
special. What was his name? Tim?
Tim Ellis, yeah.
Yes, that's him. He's the one who has like a house that he uses as a
Yeah, the
comedy.
Laneway Theatre. He's an
That's
incredible
it.
master magician here in Australia, and he's a very close friend and mentor of myself and a lot of other great performers here in Melbourne. I can genuinely say, without any hyperbole, without people like Tim Ellis and his influence on my career, I would not be a professional magician today.
Yeah.
He's been immeasurably helpful to our community here and myself personally.
Yeah, and he gave you a special shout out on 3AW. So that was pretty good.
Wonderful, yeah.
So, how did you come to the decision of hanging up the wrestling boots?
Oh, look. Okay, so this is probably the last wrestling-based interview or podcast that I'm ever gonna do. Right.
Wow.
So, I mean, yeah, very grateful for you having me on first off, and thanks for everyone who's taken the time to listen to this and watch it as well. So I'm diving in, right? We're we're going to talk about a lot of stuff that has never come up in any interviews before. I've never said publicly, and I've given Joe free rein to ask me whatever he likes to. So to wrap everything up the way that we did recently, which you were there for as well. I decided that Magic was getting too busy for me. It was one of those things that I had made that decision a while back, but I hadn't really had like a finality to my wrestling career,
Hmm.
which I managed to be able to have 7 or 8 years in the industry. So I'm really, really proud of what I accomplished in the time that I was there. Obviously, COVID got in the way of a little bit of that. And when
Yeah.
I came back to Alpha Pro Wrestling, and I managed to do a few pit stops at other promotions over the time, and I managed to finish up the career really nicely in a very special match with Emilio Crow, and then he took the championship on to bigger and better things. I'm hoping for all of the Alpha crew that they have a fantastic rest of 2025. I will be around a little bit saying hello here and there, but in terms of finishing up the story, I had a big hand in writing how it all played out, because the guys in charge of Alpha, they trusted my input. They valued what I had to say more than anyone has ever in wrestling, and they really believed in the vision that I had, and we worked together to craft that storyline. And initially, it was going to lead to me having an extended break after my long championship run. But then I sort of said to them, look, if I ever did leave the industry, this would be the way that I would do it. So maybe that might be what we could be leading towards. And obviously, they didn't want me to go. They had plans for me moving up further, but schedules clashing and my sort of conviction in keeping commitments, which I really tried to do, and was getting harder for me. You know, I didn't want to be that guy who commits to doing a show and then has to pull out for the fans or for the people in the back. I feel horrible doing that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've got a family here to look after. I've got my wife and we're hoping to have a younger family at some point in the not too distant future. So
Well,
I need
good
to
luck
make
with
sure
that.
that everything's taken care of here. And as much as I love wrestling, it was always a passion project. It was never something that I sort of saw myself ever making a dent in terms of the financial benefit, which is very hard to do for any wrestler. They'll tell you if you
Yeah.
ask them honestly. But
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I got to finish things up on my terms, and I was very proud of what we accomplished. And I love everyone to bits, the fans, the people in the back, and I'm very proud of what we did.
So, what was the timeline? Where was the decision made? I'm hanging the boots up, and how did that go with telling Mike Manson and Alpha Pro and Adam Crow and so forth? How did that process look from the time you said, "Well, Magic's taking over. I have to stop wrestling"? How did that look?
Yeah, so I don't have exact dates and times for you or anything like that. It sort of was just an ever evolving thought process, and then it ended up being clear instruction from me to them saying, "Look, this is it. Let's make it count." Yeah, pretty much the way it sort of worked out was we were building to this. Um, Originally, it was going to be a loser leaves alpha
Mm-hmm.
for the contract. We were umming and ahhing whether it was going to be a tables match or a no disqualification match or a ladder match for my contract and the title at the same time, stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, right? We were umming and ahhing about all these different things, and we had my wife involved, and we had Adam involved, and we had Emilio and all of these things, and then we had a timeline that was going to play out. So originally, this was going to be continued on the Alpha versus Energy show, and
Aha.
it was going to blow off, and we were going to finish on the next main show
Which
in
would have been
July.
July. Yeah.
Yep. So
So
whatever
why
that
did?
show ended up being in July was going to be the last show. But because I had the Melbourne Magic Festival in July and I was just flat out, I couldn't
Yeah.
put any time or effort towards wrestling, and I just needed. Internally, I decided I need to cut this off now.
Oh.
Sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
I said I need to cut this off now so that I can have uh, the right mental bandwidth towards wrestling at the time that I'm doing it and
Mm-hmm.
magic at the time that I'm doing it. I couldn't do
Yeah.
both at the same time. It was just getting too much. So we fast tracked the plans to the Alpha versus Energy show, and about maybe a week or two before the show, I let Adam know first that was the plan, because Mike and I got along great, but Adam was my main point guy that I would talk to about all the plans, and then we'd get the okays from Mike with all this stuff. And then he had his own direction, and we worked all together as a unit. But it was like Adam and I were the sort of, I was the ideas, Adam was the ideas and the middleman, and then we spoke to Mike, and he was head honcho with it. Yeah, and we came up with all these great ideas, and it all ended up working out beautifully right there at the end. And as much as we had to fast track it from behind the scenes, the fans wouldn't know. And I just thought it would drag it out too long as well. So for every reason, it ended up working out the right way at the Alpha versus Energy show. It was a really big show to finish things up as well.
Now, what I'm going to say is because I know you're a bit more time poor, so the actual part of this where I say for the very first time that I've not done this before, I've actually got my farewell gift to you is for the first time we are going to do a watch along
Oh my
of
goodness, here we go.
of your final match. I've got the volume
Okay.
down, and because of times I've taken away the entrances, I'd like to ask you one thing about your entrance music. Obviously, it's
Oh,
a
that went great. That fire bit, that was terrible. Oh man, we
well,
stuffed the fire bit a little bit. He reacted before I'd lit it up. I thought it was lit, but it wasn't lit. Oh my god! But look, everything else went okay. That was
yeah.
if that's the only thing.
But you know what I missed? I missed when you pulled out that orange thing, which you'll see later on.
The orange thing. What's the orange thing? I can't
There
remember.
was some sort of. Oh, you'll see it there. But yeah, I wish I could turn the volume up the chops. You guys, I love how you lay in the chops.
Oh, we well, look when you get close with some of these guys, it feels a bit more. You feel a bit more comfortable being a bit more stiff with them. Emilio and I, we worked really well together. He was my first match back in wrestling. I was one of his first singles
There it
matches.
is.
Yeah, that's an appearing table, and I buffed him in the head with it.
Yeah, and I didn't. I was looking away because I was sitting
It was a
in
tables
the.
match, so I thought it was appropriate that I use it.
Yeah. Well, because it folded up, I didn't know what it was because I was sitting, say, behind where that photographer is on
Yep,
the on.
gotcha. So you would have missed it a little bit.
I missed it a little bit because I turned just
Well,
for a
now you get the
moment.
in-depth knowledge of what's happening. So, one of the other things as well that you might be interested to hear about the match. So, all of this stuff at the start, we didn't really plan any of it. It was kind of all just let's have some fun, let's play the hits, and then let's start doing the other stuff. But
Yeah,
Jesus Christ, look at that moon's lion salt. That's bloody gorgeous, if I do
it
say
was.
so
It was,
myself.
was very good,
Far
and
out.
and I
Every
know.
time I did it, it hurt my knees, but I knew it was worth it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And I think one part here when he gets you, when you go under the ring, you basically do your tribute to Gillette.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, no, I came up with the spot because we got the all clear to go for it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
And it doesn't happen often in this company, but they knew it was me finishing up and finishing up for real. So I just said, "Look, let's do it. Let's make it really mean something." And Emilio and I, we were talking about how we were going to get to the spot where I got colour, and I said to him, "Look, let's go for it here. This is my last match. I don't really do suicide dives, but I'll do one, and you buff me with the trash can like the Chris Benoit Chris Jericho match with the
mm-hmm.
chair." And I
Mm-hmm.
just thought, oh gee, if we do that and it comes off and that's the way it ends with me bleeding and everything, that would be a pretty sick spot. So let's go for it. Um, but yeah, anyway, we I think that's just about to happen now, and every time I watch it, it's so woof. It's a hard fall, but it
Yeah.
didn't hurt too bad, which was good.
Oh yes, I do remember that. It was with the ring
Oh,
steps actually. I think that was
what's that?
was that the ring steps or was
No, the
the?
ring steps are on the other side. There
Oh,
was
that's right.
no,
'Cause
yeah,
it was
it
a
was just
trash can.
me in midair from the middle of the
It was a
ring,
trash can.
hitting
Yeah.
a trash can and straight down onto the very slightly padded floor with the stuff there. I was still working my magic under the ring, and
Yeah, I
Emilio
know.
came over to grab me way too early, and I just said to him, "Fucking piss off," I need to do my thing. And I said, "Go work the crowd," and he was off doing his thing.
And I've got to
Um,
I've got to say thank you to Mike Manson and his son Anthony for getting the clip to me because
oh, legend!
I said to them I want to surprise Matty with this because I've
Consider
got
me surprised and very happy to be watching it with you. I've only watched it once so far with my wife and a couple of friends, and I'm now waiting to see the full edited footage come out, and then I'll watch it again. But I'm very happy to be watching it with you. This is really great.
I believe this is going to be an upcoming match on the Alpha Pro Channel 31 thing. I'm not sure, but I
Oh, I'd
think
be
I remember
very
that.
excited to see it on the telly.
And
Yeah, I'm.
they got the production quite nicely on this now because it's
Yeah,
lit
yeah,
up
yeah.
better.
This is just the hard cam, but they've got all the bits and pieces. Really great camera setup and everything. The only thing
Yeah,
for this show that I had a bit of a grievance with was they were testing out some new lights, right? And
yeah.
with these ones that they've got all set up around that change color, they were changing color based on noise. So every time
Yeah,
we made like a decentish amount of noise, they would change color, and
I
they would,
mentioned it.
yeah,
I
they were
mentioned it
trying
to
this
Mike.
new thing out, and I said to him, guys, not again. Don't do it anymore after this.
Then
But
I
then
was probably
again,
about
they can
no
do what they
because
want.
last Thursday night because I couldn't go to the Saturday shows this past weekend, but the Thursday show they weren't pulsating.
Oh well, that's good. At least they took some good advice from myself or their own learnings. Oh, how good is that?
Yeah, if there was more money in pro wrestling, could you have made room for both careers?
Look, honestly, as much as money is nice, it's also just about the mental bandwidth, right? So if I'm giving 100% to Magic, which I want to do. Like I've been doing Magic for 15 years, and I'm very, very passionate about it.
Hmm.
I would definitely say there would be. There's a little part of me that wishes I hadn't like fully retired because I like the idea of popping up very occasionally when I can. But I also kind of like this here was a night show. I'd sacrificed a gig to be able to do it. I'm not. People don't know this very much. Like there's very few people who know this. To do this night show, which I didn't do the night shows on the Saturday nights because that's when I make my income. Right, I work every
Hmm.
Friday and Saturday night,
Yep.
and to do this show, I turned down a $600 gig. That's
Wow.
not in any way to make people go, "Oh wow, this guy's amazing" or anything like that. That's what I work 15 years towards being able to make as my income for doing Magic.
Yeah.
But I knew that this was the way to go. I had to keep my commitments. I wanted to finish up the right way, and I passed that on to another magician, and obviously I'm very happy that other people get to benefit as well. But yeah, that's the thing. That's that every weekend I was having to make these decisions. Do I make my income for the week? Because I don't work every day of the week. I do a lot of admin during the week, but I work on the weekends mostly.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was the hard part. To go back to your original point with if I could make it work timing wise. Then yeah, I mean, I would pop up occasionally, but I definitely wouldn't be a full time guy like I was for this last run. This last run, I was pretty much full time. I was on all the shows that I could be on.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and look, I may potentially return in a very limited capacity in the very distant future. We're not talking like next couple of years, and things might change, and I might not be able to make it at all. But
Hmm.
I'm not disappearing from the industry. I'll pop up occasionally just to say hello. But in terms of a wrestling capacity, I like the idea of honouring my commitments and being the end of the career in this match. That
If
feels right.
all right, here's one thing for you though. If WWE or AEW came along with a big size contract, would that have influenced your decision?
Uh, no, and I'm going to tell you why, and it's going to sound potentially a little bit corny, but I would never upend my wife and myself and take us away from our families here in Australia
Hmm.
permanently. Traveling over to the US on a regular basis is not something that really appeals to me because, I love my family here in Australia. I love my wife's family here in Australia. Everything is set up for me here in Melbourne. Traveling interstate or traveling internationally on a limited basis sounds great,
Hmm.
but permanently, I just, you know, yeah, it wouldn't have changed my decision. It would have been a dream come true, but not. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think that dream would have been a game changer for me in terms of my passion for wrestling. My passion for wrestling's there, but I can't realistically justify making it my career. Even if I did get that opportunity, I feel like my passion and my career is in being a professional magician. And if you see any of my work on my social media and stuff like that, you'll be able to see how much I care about it and how much I love doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah, even
Well,
for a pay cut.
well, I see. You know myself. I've got to know a couple of the wrestlers, and I mean, in just on the Alpha Pro roster, without naming names, there's there is someone who is actually works in a trade. There's a
Hmm.
school teach. There's a school teacher. There's a aged care worker,
Yep.
and you probably know who I'm talking about in those
Oh yeah,
regards.
we're all just people, We
Yeah.
become these larger than life personalities on the weekends, and I'm one of the lucky ones who gets to perform for a living. But in terms of wrestling, Joe, the reality is the money's not there.
Mm.
You're lucky if you get paid, and if you do get paid, you've got to supplement that pay from the promoters with, fees. Sorry, not fees. Oh, that
Wow,
Spanish fly! Look at that.
that was
Phew,
good. That
phew.
was perfect. Good flatbacks.
Oh yeah, that
Really
that
good
was
flatbacks.
yeah, that was a big landing, that one. But yeah, we're feeling good after it, thank God. Yeah, you've got to supplement that income with merch sales as well, if you're lucky. And the crowds who come along to wrestling shows, they're very working class. It's not a high end activity, So the people who come along to the shows, maybe they don't have a huge amount of money to be able to spend on merchandise. So I had merchandise most of my career, but unfortunately, I didn't sell a huge amount of it throughout because it's just not one of those things that
Yeah.
people who are coming to watch these more affordable family entertainment shows, they can't really afford a huge amount of stuff. Now, look, it might have been my merchandise wasn't quite right for them. I know a lot of people do really well off the merchandise, but for me, I was more focused on my in-ring performances
Yeah.
and yeah, connecting with the fans in the ring as opposed to just selling the merchandise at the end. It was, as I said, it was a passion project for me. The financial benefit was um, not there, but
Yeah.
I did it because I loved it. I didn't have to do any of this,
I
and I
know.
really am passionate about it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm having a giggle to myself because when I was proposing to you, the minute before I proposed to you that when we were at your merch table, I want to interview you about to wind up your career, and I was about to say to you, "Can you please wear the shirt, the bloody shirt that you're wearing in the ring?" But
Oh, yep.
as I was about to ask you that, that gentleman offered you $100 for the shirt.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would have given him three. I would have given him three shirts for that.
And you just whooped the rest of your blood that was on there, wiped it off,
That's
left the
it. I
gig
said,
mark,
"Here,
and
let me sign it for you," and I wiped the rest of my blood onto it. Oh yeah, yeah.
but
Wrestling
it
fans
is,
never cease to amaze me, and that guy was so nice, and
yeah.
he was so generous. Yeah, I'm very happy that he gets to have a memorable souvenir. Wouldn't have done me any justice. I already wore it. I'm very happy that he liked it, and I hope he's keeping it safe.
Yeah,
He can
and
use it to create a clone of Matty.
and looking back, who are your the opponents that you best like working with, or tag partners?
I didn't tag with many people. I only had a few tag matches, and they were just sporadic ones. I never actually had a
Yeah,
full tag run. I only ever worked as a babyface or a little bit of a tweener. I didn't really work as a heel at all my entire career. In matches like this, I only did it privately in training, occasionally. Um, Here we go.
coast to
Bang!
coast. Oh, you
Do you
got
have
that. You got
any
all of that.
idea how much that hurt for me? Oh my god, that landing was awful. I was whilst on the ground like this. I was just like, I want to kip up, but I can't. I was rooted.
Well, it would take away from the impact of it if you did just keep up.
Let's see if I
Because
do. Let's see if I do.
no, you're selling that. You're not
Usually when
rooted
I
for
do
that.
those foot stomps, I do it. But I think I wised up and was just like, okay, yeah, you better not do that, you
No, you
dickhead.
take away because I mean it's not a regular match, and it's not like you just say gave him a little suplex.
No, no, that's a
You
big
gave
one.
him a coast to coast. So who are the best opponents? Who'd you like
Oh
working with
yes,
best?
coming back. Sorry, I was distracted by my incredible flying magic trick. Um, My favourite opponents: Mike Chaos, Adam Crow, Emilio Crow. Um, the Warner Brothers. My God, I loved working with those guys when I got the chance, but I didn't really get to have that many matches with them. I did
because
a
they're a
tag match.
dedicated tag.
I did a tag match with them whilst they were on my team, but I got to wrestle them in like battle royales and stuff. And I got to wrestle them so much at training. God, those guys were so good. They still are. My goodness. I'm just trying to think. I know I'm leaving people off. I feel bad.
Okay, have you wrestled anyone from overseas that, say, an overseas person might know?
Um, Oh well, I mean, I've gotten to be in matches with George Julio and stuff like that, Hitman, but not wrestling him, but on the team with him and stuff like that. I think
Yeah.
there was a couple of times that I was with George Julio, thinking that it would be his last match, and then he's obviously come out of retirement a million times. He's done a lot of Terry Funks. But yeah, I'm also now remembering I've had so many great matches with Xavier Black, and oh man, it's hard to remember it all right here when I'm on the spot. But yeah,
So
all
did
those
you have
guys.
any? Because like from time to time, American guys on tour, like Mike Quackenbush came out for those. Uh,
Here we go.
um,
Hang on.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
Oh, the fans went nuts for that.
yeah, yeah. It was. You look at the commentary team at the back there; they're going,
They went
they're going
nuts
bunter.
for it.
Yeah, yeah.
Amazing.
Everything came up really nicely with the spot with this whole thing.
Yeah, very happy with how it went.
Now you
And
know what? It's funny because I've heard. I'm sorry to interrupt. I've heard the
you're good.
term "boo boo job face," and you did demonstrate "boo boo job face."
I don't know if I know that term. What do you
Boo
interpret
boo.
it to mean?
Well, from what I understand, it means that say you know you're going to lose,
Ah, yes,
but
right,
and you don't put in your full sort of persona when you
right.
come out to play.
Oh man,
So
I fully think if anyone is doing that, they need to have a long, hard, bloody look at themselves. Like that's
mm,
that's crap behavior. If you're going out there and you're giving it any less than 100% when you're losing a match, or if you're losing a title, or if you're finishing up your career, or this or that, you give it 100% because the guy who I'm in the ring with there, bloody Emilio. I said to him before the match, and I said to him after the match, tonight, I'm giving you everything I've got. Going to give you the best match I possibly can, and I want you to come out of this with a complete rub from beating me. If there's anything there, you can have it. Right? You've got the title, and you've had this great storyline and everything. This is going to give you credibility. It's going to hopefully make you a star. And I just want to give you everything I can so that you
mhm,
can run with it because he's the future of the industry. People
yeah,
like him, and he gives it 150%. Yeah, I always give it 100%. You never know who might be in the crowd, and you should do it for yourself as well. Do it for your self-respect. Do it for your opponent. They deserve it too. Because most opponents, if they're going out there and they've got to lose, you got to think, well, I mean, they're happy to do it for me. I should be happy to do it for them, right? And I can't justify going out in a match like this, even if I had staked my career on the
oh,
line.
there it is, and you're
There we
gone.
go. Even if I'd put my career on the line in a way that this was my last match no matter what, and I said this is the end of my career and this is my last ever match, I would still want to lose because you want to put the guy over on the way out. That's the
Mm,
right way to do it.
yeah, but the thing was, from my perspective, I was the one that had boo boo job face because there was the one time I knew what was happening because
Right.
because the month before I overheard the conversation. I said, "No, you're not, are you?" And you said, "Yeah," and then I was like, "No," and I was sort of had bittersweet things about this match. It was a
We just got to
great
enjoy it while
match.
it's here, right?
Yeah, yeah, very much so. Yeah. Did you during your career, did you have any injuries that put you out?
Just a couple, nothing major. I had a really bad knockout concussion from Gore. He did a sit-out power bomb to me and landed before me instead of the same time as me. And because of the ring that we were in, it was the old NAW ring. It had a big spring in the middle as opposed to nice flexi beams. And
Oh,
that middle spring, his ass pushed the spring down. My head was still coming down with the rest of my body. Spring came back up and hit the back of my head, knocked me out, and I did the old
oh,
T-Rex arms. So that was pretty bad. But I was okay, thank God. I was out of it for a week or two, with post concussion stuff. But yeah, it hasn't bothered me at all for the rest of my life. And following that, I did a no disqualification match. I think about 3 weeks later with Mike Chaos for his championship at the time at Adrenaline Pro Wrestling, which is one of my favourite matches I ever had. The other thing that happened was I was on the ring apron at the NAW ring, and they had a similar sort of setup to this one. There's very light, zigzag mats on the ground on the outside of the ring. I did a flip dive from the apron of the ring to the outside of the ring, but my heel of my foot landed a little bit sort of weird, and turns out that I really badly bruised the bone in the back of my heel to the
oh,
point where I could barely walk after I finished the match and the adrenaline wore off, and I was sort of walking bad for like 2 weeks after that. But yeah, no major injuries, no breaks, no dislocations, no nothing like that. Just little
you're very lucky
surface
then.
issues.
You're very
Sorry?
lucky. You're very lucky.
Yeah, very lucky. And I did some silly shit in my career.
Oh, now, I hope if your music has come down, we'll see if we can get. I haven't got. Stupid mouse. Stupid mouse doesn't want to play ball. Well, basically, you're saying your thank yous anyway.
Yes. Yeah, I didn't write anything in advance. I just spoke from the heart as best as I could.
Yeah, it was. I remember at the time it was a very nice speech. Um, and just well, what thank yous would you like to say here now with your farewell party for you, Matty Wild, the escape artist?
Uh, Right. Thank you very much to my trainers throughout my career, everyone who's contributed to any part of my wrestling training. The main ones that I'd really like to thank are Jason Crash and Zane Zodiac. Those guys helped me for the first part of my career very early on. Those guys were the guys. George Julio. I'd also like to say a massive thank you to Adam Crow and Mike Manson as well for bringing me back in to the fold. All those guys are super influential. And then there's been a few people who've put little bits and pieces in over the time as well. I'd also like to say a massive thank you to everyone who I shared a ring with, whether it was at training or at any shows and any matches. I hope that I took good care of you, and I thank you for taking good care of me. All the fans who supported all the shows that I was on over the years and followed along, bought merchandise, said hi to me, gave me hugs and high fives and handshakes and fist bumps. Very, very grateful to every single person who supported my wrestling career. I genuinely, really, really hope that everyone knows that I tried my best while I was out there to give 100% every time I did a match. And I just wanted to give as much as I could on the microphone and in the ring and pay that forward and to just, do the industry I love proud. And I wish I could give more. And I might in the future, but that story is yet to be told. So thanks,
This,
thanks for having me on. I hope that you enjoyed getting to watch the last match again.
yeah, and this was a nice moment too at the end with the with all the wrestlers coming into the ring, giving you.
That was really special, and amazing friends and colleagues in there as well.
Did you
Also,
know that was
people who
happening?
didn't get. No, no, they didn't tell me any of that, and that was really, really special. The only disappointing part about it was that my wife didn't feel comfortable enough coming out as well. She was a little bit nervous, but yeah, all those guys out there, you've got Mitchell and Bison as well. Great guys who I shared the ring with multiple times and had really fun matches with. Those guys I've got to give my props to as well. Then you got Mike Chaos and Jason Crash and the Warner Brothers, and yeah, all those great guys. Really, really appreciate it.
Apart from an interesting point you said, because you said Emilio is like the future, and I agree with that, and I can see him spreading his wings out. Who else do you see as being the future in Oz? Someone who could actually make it overseas, even.
Tough questions. Tough questions.
Oh,
I think that there are a few people who have a chance from the Australian scene of making it big in wrestling, but I also think that we need to be a little bit more realistic in our interpretation of what wrestling is. We need to understand what we're doing better, whether it's trying to entertain the people who are here for us right now. I know that there's a hell of a lot of guys out there in the industry who think that they're bigger than they really are, and I respect them for putting on the boots every weekend and stuff like that. But sometimes if you're going out there trying to make yourself look like a superstar, you end up coming out looking a bit more like a jobber to me. But I don't know. I think that yeah, there's incredible talents all around Australia, and I hope that everyone makes it. Everyone who wants to make it big, I hope they make it big. But I think we also need to look at what's right in front of us and go, this is my crowd for tonight. Let's give these guys 100%. Let's make this the best match I've ever done. Let's make it the last match I would ever do. If that was my last match, I want to make sure that that's remembered. Yeah, I I can't think of anyone off the top of my head who I think is going to make it that far because the industry constantly changes, and I think just the standard here in Australia needs a lift. There's so many people who could be doing better but aren't because they're not putting 100% in with their training. And, one thing I let myself down on in the last parts of my career was my exercise and my fitness. I used to be a lot more slender, but I put the weight on during COVID and I never sort of took it off. But even with all that being said, I was still able to tap into it when I was out in the ring, and I, was able to do things that a guy my size probably shouldn't realistically be able to do. Um, yeah, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head who I think will make it to the big time. That's my honest answer, and I could just pluck names out of a hat and say this and that, and I feel like it would be disingenuous, and I don't want to do that.
yeah.
But I would be ecstatic if I see anyone make it to the big time here in Australia. But it's so hard to tap it in from overseas. Like, look, there's so many people who could have realistically made it but haven't. The only people from Australia who've realistically actually made a dent are people like Rhea Ripley and stuff like
Mm,
that,
mm.
and Demi's doing incredible things over there, and then you've got people like Kyle Fletcher who are coming up and making a real big dent. Tony Storm, is one of those big stars who's actually made it. But how many other Australians are there that have like cracked through and been like, no, I'm a huge star? There's not that many. Like, I'm sure that there's a few that I'm missing off, but not really
Yeah,
that
there's a
many.
couple more, but all right. Now, put you on the spot. I want an
Please,
honest answer.
I'll do my best.
With your last match, how do you rank that amongst your matches?
I know
Top
that there was a
five.
couple of little botches in there, but even with that being said, the crowd was so hot for it.
Mm,
I tried to give it 100%. We took some crazy bumps. We did some incredible spots. There was a little bit of magic in there. There was weapons, blood, big bumps, great story, and DPC being an absolute champion, taking a table bump. I would say, without a doubt, it'd be in my top five.
top five.
It's probably in my top three, to be honest with you. I don't know where the other matches rank. I know I had a ripper match with Mad Dog at NAW Pure. That's one of my favourite matches I ever had. I take a very gnarly ladder bump in that match, and he put me over in the match. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a roll up pin on Mad Dog. I can't believe
Okay.
I forgot to mention that. Great matches with Mike Chaos as well have to be up there too. That no disqualification match we had was pretty special. Had a really fun match with Adam Crow that wasn't even televised in any capacity. It wasn't even filmed, and I did a match with him on a birthday show where I got wrapped up in a roll of Glad Wrap and wrestled in a roll of Glad Wrap. Yeah, but those matches with Emilio, we had some great matches. The triple threat that him, Harper Sky, and I had, I'm so proud of that match. Um, you know, I hope I'm correct in saying this. I can't remember completely, but I think I wrote like 90% of that match
Mm.
for all three of us. And those guys, they're coming up in the industry and they're still doing their best to remember everything as we go out. And we're doing a complicated match like that. And I think that was one of their best matches that they've had from my best knowledge. And it was one of my best matches that I've had. Yeah, some great stuff back in AEPW, some really good stuff in NAW, and I think a lot of the best work that I had was in, was in Alpha and matches with Pete Morgan, stuff like that. When I won the title, that was a pretty great match with Pete. Um,
A
yeah,
tables match as well.
yeah. I loved my no disqualification matches and weapons matches, but I didn't get to do that many of them.
What is it about those sort of, like how would you sell that to say a traditionalist? Because I listen to a lot of Jim Cornette, and he says, "Oh, they're all going through furniture." Uh,
Yeah, I get you. I get you. I mean, I've had a couple of death matches. One was with Mason Stoneheart, another one of my absolute favorite guys to work with. My God, I love that dude. He is so great. Really
mm,
underrated. And we had great chemistry out in the ring. We had a bunch of normal matches, really fun, and we had a death match that I fucking hurt my heels on again, doing a swanton off a giant like barricade sort of staircase onto him through a table on concrete. Oh,
oh,
and I
crikey!
tried to protect him as best as I could, and I tried to take the landing, and I hurt my heels really bad. Um, my poor heels. Yeah, but I also had one against Hex as well in a backyard death match. But those gimmick matches, I didn't get to do that many of them, but I love doing them because it feels like you can, you know. I see so many people doing weapons matches these days, and right to your point, it's just going through furniture and it's just bleeding for the sake of bleeding and light tubes, which is so dangerous, and all these other things. Honestly, it's not about the weapon. It's about the story that you tell with the
Hmm.
weapon. And you want to give the crowd a bit of extra fun, right? If you can't have a good match without any weapons, then you shouldn't be having a good match with weapons or trying to have a good match with weapons. You need to be able to work first. And a lot of people are doing death matches around this country who should not be doing death matches because they can't bloody have a normal match to save their lives. I will not name names for that one
No, I didn't want
because
you.
I do not want to be a dick. But I have opinions, shall we say.
Well, they say they're like backsides. Everyone's got one.
Exactly. Exactly right. Exactly right. I think that they have a place in wrestling to a point, and then it just becomes violence porn for the sake of it, you know?
But they're basically supposed to be like any sort of gimmick match is supposed to be the blow off to a feud because
Yeah.
you couldn't settle the match this time because the heel did a run in. You
Yeah.
couldn't settle it this time because the manager interfered. You couldn't settle it
Storyline
because of
finality.
time. Yeah.
Yep. Storyline finality. It makes no sense that any of this is happening. So
Mm.
to go a little bit of an extra leap and be using ridiculous weapons. It's physical theater. It's live physical theater. That's what it is. It's just fun, and we should treat it as such. But
Uh,
if we can add a little bit of story salt in there and a little bit of finessed ideas pepper, then that makes it better.
To me, light tubes are cheap pyro.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay,
I
I'm going to
mean,
get a merch shirt done up with that, wear it to wrestling matches.
yep. Maybe print me one as well. No, I'm not a fan of glass in wrestling. I don't mind watching it occasionally, but it needs to. It shouldn't just be there for the sake of being there. Like when I had the couple of death matches that I had, it was getting the exact same reactions that I saw all the guys doing the light tubes and stuff like that getting, and we didn't, you know, butcher ourselves. But like I see all these guys with scars and stuff like that. I mean, if they're okay, really okay, then I'm happy for them. But also, like that's there forever. You
Mm.
know, I've got scars on my back and stuff that are never going to heal. They're there forever. But that all over your head and forehead and stuff like that, and all over your arms and your back, and I don't know. It's just not really for me.
No, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. All right. Well, we'll let you get going. So this is the chapter where we close off Matty Wild. In post, I'll put the picture of you leaving the boots in the ring.
Thank you,
That was
thank
a
you.
very, very nice doing the tradition, doing the right thing traditionally. So if you do catch LJ the Magician, Magic Safe, you'll see it. Look up LJ the Magician on Facebook and probably all the different socials. I
I'm on
barely
everywhere except Twitter because Twitter's a hellscape.
Yeah, I have Twitter, but all I do, the only thing I use Twitter for is to have a laugh at a few people with
Yep.
their opinions.
Everyone's
Um,
always having a whinge on Twitter. That's the way I look at it.
yeah, and the only other thing I do on that, it's a way of just sharing the YouTube links, including
Yeah.
this show.
Yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
share it a
And we
few
want everyone
times.
to be listening to Southern Joe, don't we, folks?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So this has been If You See Kayfabe saying farewell to Matty Wild,
Thanks
and
for
this is
everything.
and thank you for your career and all your work. And this is Huru.
We'll miss you, Matty.